Sofia had always loved the ocean, but nothing excited her more than visiting Ariel, her mermaid friend, who lived beneath the shimmering waves. One bright morning, the royal ship anchored near the coral coast, and Sofia eagerly rushed to the railing, waving as she spotted a familiar silhouette swimming gracefully through the surf. Ariel surfaced with a warm smile, her red hair glittering in the sunlight and her turquoise tail shining as brightly as the sea itself. "Sofia, I'm so happy you came," Ariel said, reaching for her friend's hands. Sofia beamed, explaining that she had been granted a special day off from her princess lessons, and she wanted to spend it with Ariel exploring something new. Ariel's eyes sparkled with excitement as she whispered that she had something very special to show her, a secret place, hidden deep under the sea, where only a few merfolk had ever been. Sofia's heart fluttered with curiosity. She had explored many magical places, but the idea of discovering a secret ocean sanctuary with Ariel felt like a dream come true. Ariel reminded her that she would need her magical transformation necklace from her amulet, and with a soft glow, Sofia transformed into a mermaid. Her lilac tail shimmered, and she dove into the water beside Ariel, instantly feeling the cool waves wrap around her like a welcoming embrace. The two friends began swimming deeper, passing coral reefs filled with bright fish, glowing jellyfish, and sea creatures of every shape and color. Sofia marveled at the underwater world, feeling as though she was swimming through a living painting. Ariel led the way with graceful movements, occasionally stopping to show Sofia a shell or a playful dolphin that swam alongside them. As they traveled farther from the coast, Sofia noticed that the water became calmer and quieter, almost mysterious, as though they were entering a hidden part of the ocean that few had touched. Ariel eventually paused at the entrance of a glowing cave. Soft turquoise lights shimmered from within, and delicate sea plants swayed slowly, as if guarding the entrance. "This," Ariel whispered with excitement, "is the way to the secret sea garden." Sofia's eyes widened with amazement. Ariel explained that the garden was a magical sanctuary created long ago by sea guardians to protect endangered sea plants and animals. It was a place of peace and beauty, but it could only be accessed by merfolk with pure intentions and kind hearts. Sofia swallowed her awe, feeling honored that Ariel trusted her enough to bring her to such an extraordinary place. Together, they swam inside, where the light grew warmer and more golden, and the walls began to glow like polished pearls. As the tunnel opened into a vast underwater valley, Sofia gasped. Before her stretched the most breathtaking garden she had ever seen. Giant sea flowers bloomed in colors she couldn't even name, glittering pinks, radiant blues, sun-bright yellows, and glowing greens. Some plants floated gently, illuminated from within like lanterns, while others spiraled upward like trees made of crystal. Fish with shimmering wings fluttered above the plants like butterflies. Small, glowing orbs drifted through the water, moving like fireflies in slow motion. Everything seemed alive with magic, peace, and harmony. Sofia felt like she had entered a dream woven entirely out of beauty. Ariel smiled at Sofia's expression, saying that she knew her friend would love it. She shared that the garden was carefully protected from those who might misuse its magic, and only those with kindness and courage could even find it. As they swam deeper into the garden, Sofia noticed a group of tiny sea creatures gathered around a wilted glowing plant. They seemed distressed, swimming back and forth anxiously. Sofia immediately swam closer, asking if something was wrong. Ariel explained that this special plant, called a Luminora Bloom, was extremely important to the garden. It produced soft light that helped other plants grow. But this one looked dim and weak, almost as if its magic was fading. Sofia felt a tug of concern. She had helped troubled creatures before, but she had never seen a magical plant lose its glow. Ariel frowned, saying that the blooms only dimmed when something in the garden was out of balance. Ariel and the merfolk caretakers had been trying to understand the cause for days, but no one had found the reason. Sofia gently touched one of the plant's petals. It quivered slightly, releasing a faint sparkle that faded almost immediately. Sofia felt a sudden warmth inside her chest, not from the plant, but from her amulet. It glowed softly, suggesting that this was a problem she was meant to help solve. Ariel noticed too and gasped, realizing that the amulet must sense something important. Sofia took a deep breath, deciding that she couldn't just enjoy the garden without trying to help save it. She told Ariel that she wanted to figure out what was harming the Luminora Bloom and restore its magic. Ariel smiled proudly, knowing Sofia always chose kindness and responsibility. Together, they agreed to investigate the garden, search for clues, talk to the sea creatures, and uncover the mystery causing the imbalance. Just as they prepared to swim farther into the garden, a soft but urgent humming echoed through the water. The glowing orbs dimmed slightly, creating ripples of shadow that spread across the garden. Sofia and Ariel exchanged worried glances. Something wasn't right. The secret sea garden needed their help more than ever, and Sofia was ready to uncover whatever secret was hidden beneath its beauty. Sofia and Ariel swam cautiously toward the direction of the strange humming, their eyes scanning the glowing plants around them for any signs of trouble. The usually bright garden felt dimmer than before, and Sofia noticed that some of the floating orbs that had drifted like peaceful fireflies were now flickering unevenly, as if the magic that kept them lit was weakening. Ariel explained that the garden responded to the energy of the sea, and when something was wrong, the entire sanctuary would show signs of distress. Sofia's determination grew stronger. She knew that the garden was a special place that deserved protection, and she was grateful that Ariel trusted her enough to help uncover the problem. As they swam deeper, they came across a group of merchildren gathered around a crystal archway, whispering nervously. One of them recognized Ariel and swam forward anxiously, explaining that the sea whisper crystals, magical stones that helped circulate calm energy throughout the garden, had begun vibrating in unusual patterns. Sofia listened closely, realizing that the humming sound they had heard was coming from these very crystals. Ariel examined the crystals with a worried expression. Normally, they glowed with a soft, steady light, but now they flickered like lanterns in a storm. Sofia placed her hand carefully on one of the stones, and a sudden chill traveled up her arm. It felt as though the magic inside the crystal was confused, as if it didn't know whether to shine or shut down. Sofia took a deep breath and looked at Ariel. Something was clearly interfering with the harmony of the garden, and she suggested that they should follow the direction of the weakening crystals. Perhaps they would find the source of the disturbance. Ariel agreed and told the young merchildren to return to the safer side of the garden while she and Sofia continued forward. As they swam deeper into the inner circle of the garden, Sofia noticed tiny sparkles drifting through the water, like dust motes made of magic. But as she looked closer, she realized they weren't drifting. They were being pulled, as if some unseen force was siphoning them away. "Ariel, look," Sofia whispered, pointing to the trail of magic particles drifting like fading starlight toward a dark cluster of rocks. Ariel's eyes widened. She explained that only one thing could cause magic to be drawn away like that: a disruption in the heart current, the magical stream that kept the garden alive. Sofia felt her chest tighten. If the heart current weakened too much, the entire secret sea garden could collapse, leaving the magical creatures without a home. She knew she couldn't let that happen. They followed the trail until they reached a narrow passageway hidden between two giant coral towers. Sofia squeezed through first, using her glowing tail to illuminate the path. On the other side, she emerged into a secluded chamber she had never seen before. The space was darker than the rest of the garden, illuminated only by faintly glowing moss. At the center of the chamber stood an enormous stone structure shaped like a seashell, and at its base was a swirling pool of dim light. The heart current. But instead of flowing smoothly, the magical current sputtered and dimmed in irregular pulses. Ariel gasped in shock. The heart current was losing power at a dangerous rate. Sofia cautiously approached the pool, feeling its cool energy brush against her skin. She asked Ariel what could cause such a powerful source of magic to weaken this badly. Ariel shook her head, explaining that only something draining the current directly, or blocking it, could cause such damage. As Sofia peered into the swirling light, she noticed something strange: a cluster of dark, tangled seaweed wrapped tightly around the base of the pool. But this wasn't ordinary seaweed. It pulsed with an eerie, shadowy shimmer, and wherever it touched the heart current, the magical light dimmed instantly. Sofia felt a chill. She had seen magical plants before, but never anything like this. Ariel whispered that this must be the shadow vine, a rare and dangerous underwater plant that grew only when dark energy was present in the sea. It was believed to be extinct, or at least never found near places filled with such positive magic. Sofia knew they had to remove the shadow vine, but as she reached toward it, the vine suddenly twitched and lashed out, creating a small ripple that pushed her backward. Ariel caught her just in time. The vine wasn't simply growing, it was alive and protecting itself. Sofia steadied herself, realizing that ripping the vine out by force could damage the heart current even more. They needed a gentler, more magical way to remove it. She touched her amulet, hoping it might offer some guidance, but it remained still. The amulet usually glowed when a direct answer was near, but this time, it seemed Sofia would have to rely on her own courage and problem-solving. Ariel suggested seeking help from the garden guardians, ancient sea spirits that watched over the sanctuary, but they lived in the farthest edge of the garden, and with the heart current weakening, they might not reach them in time. Sofia shook her head determinedly. She didn't want to wait for something else to go wrong. She suggested that they find a way to weaken the shadow vine first, so it would loosen its grip. Ariel agreed and mentioned that certain plants in the garden produced healing energy strong enough to neutralize harmful magic. Perhaps if they found the right one, they could use it to gently dissolve the vine's dark hold. Sofia suddenly remembered the Luminora bloom they had seen earlier, the one that had dimmed. If the shadow vine was draining magic from the heart current, it might also be affecting the bloom. If they could restore the bloom's light, maybe its magic could fight the vine's darkness. Sofia and Ariel exchanged hopeful glances. They had found their first clue, and now they had a direction. They needed to return to the main garden and begin restoring the Luminora bloom before the shadow vine drained the heart current completely. Sofia and Ariel hurried back through the narrow passageway, swimming as quickly as they could without disturbing the fragile magic particles drifting around them. Every second felt important now. The thought of the heart current slowly weakening made Sofia's chest tense with worry, but she reminded herself that she was not alone. Ariel was a strong and brave friend, and the garden itself seemed to believe in Sofia, even with its dimming glow. As they returned to the main part of the secret sea garden, the change was even more noticeable than before. The glowing plants were now flickering, the floating orbs of light were drifting at uneven speeds, and many sea creatures looked confused as they swam back and forth. Sofia's heart tightened further. This place that had been full of life and magic when she had first arrived now felt tired, like it was losing its strength little by little. They reached the beautiful Luminora bloom, the magical flower Sofia remembered from earlier. When they had first seen it, it had glowed with a soft pink light that shimmered like sunrise. Now it was dull, its petals drooping as if the magic inside had been drained. Ariel swam beside it and placed her hand gently on one of the petals. A faint spark lifted from the flower, but it quickly faded. Sofia watched closely, thinking hard. If the shadow vine was draining the heart current, and the heart current powered all the magic in the garden, then maybe the Luminora bloom couldn't heal itself. It needed an outside source of magic, something pure, something strong, something willing to help. Sofia looked at her amulet of Avalor. It had guided her through many challenges before, and while it hadn't lit up earlier, she wondered if it could still help if she used her own courage and kindness to guide it. She held the amulet with both hands and focused on what she wanted most, to help the sea creatures, to restore the garden, and to stop the shadow vine before it did more damage. She didn't know if this would work, but she felt warmth grow in her heart as she wished with all her might. The amulet glowed faintly, just enough to send a tiny spark of light into the Luminora bloom. The flower twitched. Ariel gasped softly, her face filling with hope. Encouraged, Sofia held the amulet closer to the flower. The warmth in her chest grew stronger, and the glow from the amulet brightened. Another spark traveled into the flower. Then another. Slowly, the Luminora bloom began to lift its petals, as if waking from a long sleep. The flower didn't fully glow yet, but it had regained a bit of strength. Sofia smiled, relieved. Ariel told her that the bloom needed more magic, more than one amulet spark could give. But the fact that the Luminora bloom reacted meant something important. It could be restored. Sofia asked what else they could try. Ariel thought for a moment and explained that some ocean plants responded well to shared energy. If they gathered other glowing plants nearby, their light could help the Luminora bloom recover more quickly. Sofia immediately began helping Ariel pull nearby glowing sea grass, gentle crystal leaves, and small luminescent bubbles closer to the bloom. Even the tiny sea creatures joined in, pushing bright shells and coral pieces toward the flower, as if they understood that their home needed saving. As the glowing items gathered near the Luminora bloom, faint lights blended together, bathing the flower in a soft halo of colors. Sofia held her amulet close and let it glow steadily. Ariel whispered to the flower, encouraging it gently. The petals lifted a little more, and a soft pink light started to spread through the center once again. Sofia felt a rush of hope. The Luminora bloom was responding, not quickly, but steadily. If they could get it strong enough, maybe its magic would be powerful enough to weaken the shadow vine. But then something unexpected happened. The Luminora bloom released a small pulse of light, like a tiny heartbeat, and in response, somewhere in the distance, a low crackling sound echoed through the water. Ariel and Sofia exchanged uneasy glances. It wasn't a natural sound. It was sharp, rough, and it reminded Sofia of the shadow vine's reaction earlier when she had tried to touch it. Ariel told Sofia to stay close as they followed the sound. They found a small patch of the garden where the plants had been completely drained of color. The coral had turned gray, the glowing moss had gone dark, and the floating orbs had vanished entirely. Sofia shivered. This wasn't just weakening magic. This was total loss. Ariel pointed out thin strands of the shadow vine creeping along the rocks. They had spread while Sofia and Ariel were working on the bloom. Sofia felt the urgency building even stronger. They didn't have much time left. The shadow vine was advancing faster now. They rushed back to the Luminora bloom, hoping it would have gained enough strength after the light-sharing process. And when they arrived, they found the flower glowing brighter than before, still not fully restored, but strong enough to stand tall. Sofia felt pride flutter inside her. They had helped it recover at least partly. Ariel gently explained that they needed to bring the bloom's magic directly to the heart current. If the bloom could send its healing energy into the pool, it might push back the shadow vine and weaken its grip. Sofia nodded immediately. She would do anything to help. Ariel carefully detached a single glowing petal from the Luminora bloom, a petal filled with concentrated magical energy. Sofia held it gently, feeling its warmth seep into her palms. She knew this petal could make a difference. Together, she and Ariel began swimming back toward the hidden chamber where the heart current struggled. As they swam, Sofia couldn't help thinking about what lay ahead. The shadow vine wouldn't let go easily, and it might fight back. But Sofia was ready. She had Ariel, she had her amulet, and now she had the magic of the Luminora bloom. She believed they could save the garden. They reached the narrow passage once again, the light of the petal glowing brightly in Sofia's hands. This time, she wasn't afraid of the shadows waiting beyond. She was ready to face whatever danger the shadow vine would bring, because she knew the garden needed her. And she would not let it fall. Sofia and Ariel swam back into the dim hidden chamber where the heart current struggled, holding tightly to the glowing Luminora petal. The chamber felt colder than before, as if the magic had been drained even more while they were gone. The soft light from the swirling pool flickered like a candle in danger of going out, and the shadow vine wrapped around its base seemed thicker and darker now. Sofia's heart beat quickly, but she reminded herself that they had come prepared. The Luminora petal in her hands pulsed with warm pink light, and she knew that if they could get its magic into the heart current, they might weaken the shadow vine's grip. Ariel encouraged her with a gentle nod, and together they swam closer to the pool. As they approached, the shadow vine twitched as if sensing their presence. It tightened its hold on the stone base with a soft crackling sound that made Sofia shiver. It reminded her of a creature waking up, ready to defend itself. But she kept moving. She had already come too far to turn back now. Sofia lowered the glowing petal toward the swirling water, but before it could touch the magical current, a sudden burst of dark energy lashed out from the vine like a whip. Ariel quickly pulled Sofia out of harm's way. The vine's movement sent tiny black particles drifting into the water, and wherever they landed, the magic dimmed. Sofia watched carefully, trying to understand the vine's behavior. It didn't want the petal anywhere near the heart current. That meant the petal was important, maybe even powerful enough to undo the damage. Sofia took a deep breath. They needed a way to keep the vine distracted while she placed the petal into the pool. Ariel came up with a quick plan. She would swim around the chamber and create small bursts of harmless magic using her mermaid abilities. These sparkles might confuse the vine, giving Sofia a brief moment to act. Sofia agreed, holding the petal close as Ariel swam forward and waved her hands gracefully. Bright blue sparkles shot out in front of her, swirling like tiny fireflies. The shadow vine twitched again, turning its attention toward Ariel. Sofia's window of opportunity had arrived. She moved swiftly toward the heart current, holding the glowing petal tightly. The vine seemed confused, unsure of whether to follow Ariel's distracting sparkles or stop Sofia. For a brief moment, it hesitated, and Sofia dropped the petal into the swirling pool. The effect was immediate. A soft, warm wave of pink light spread through the water, lighting up the dark chamber. The shadow vine recoiled instantly, shrinking away from the glowing pulse like it had been burned. Sofia and Ariel watched as the light continued to spread, pushing back the darkness inch by inch. But the vine didn't give up easily. After a few seconds, it lashed out again, stronger this time, sending a dark ripple across the pool. The wave hit the pink light, causing the two energies to clash in a swirl of bright and shadowy colors. Sofia felt panic rise in her chest. She didn't know if the petal's magic would be enough to defeat the vine completely. But then her amulet began to glow, brighter than it ever had during this adventure. A warm golden light flowed from it, traveling through the water and into the pool. The clash of forces suddenly shifted. The pink glow of the Luminora petal grew brighter as the amulet's light joined it, pushing the shadowy energy back with renewed strength. Ariel stared in awe and whispered that Sofia's kindness and courage were helping guide the amulet's magic. Sofia didn't fully understand how it worked, but she could feel the energy flowing through her, warm and steady like a heartbeat. She closed her eyes and focused hard on saving the garden, on bringing back its beauty and protecting its creatures. The light responded to her determination, growing stronger until the entire chamber glowed with brilliant pink and gold. The shadow vine let out one final crackle before it snapped away from the heart current completely. The dark strands shriveled, twisting like dried leaves as they pulled back and retreated into the cracks of the chamber floor. The moment they disappeared, the heart current surged with bright, pure magic. The pool glowed with a steady, shimmering light once again, no longer flickering or weak. Sofia breathed a deep sigh of relief. She had done it. The shadow vine had been defeated. But their job wasn't finished yet. Ariel explained that even though the vine was gone, the garden needed time to fully recover. They had to check if the magic was flowing smoothly through the sanctuary again. Sofia nodded eagerly, ready to see the garden restored. They swam out of the chamber, and as they re-entered the main part of the secret sea garden, they gasped. The change was immediate. The floating orbs, once dim, were now glowing bright again. The plants shimmered with renewed color, and the soft currents carried sparkles of magic across the water. Little sea creatures danced around joyfully, spinning and twirling as if celebrating the return of life. The Luminora Blooms stood tall and radiant, its petals glowing brighter than when Sofia had first seen it. Ariel smiled proudly and thanked Sofia for her courage. Without her kindness, quick thinking, and bravery, the garden might have been lost forever. Sofia felt her heart warm at Ariel's words. She hadn't expected to make such a big difference, but she was grateful she could help. As they swam through the restored garden, a soft voice called out from behind them. Sofia turned around and saw the garden guardians, 3 shimmering sea spirits, floating gracefully toward them. Their bodies glowed like moonlit water, and they bowed respectfully. The spirits thanked Sofia and Ariel for saving the heart current and restoring balance to the garden. They explained that the shadow vine had grown from a pocket of forgotten dark energy deep in the ocean, and that only someone with a pure heart could have weakened it. Sofia blushed slightly, humbled but proud. The guardians told Sofia that she would always be welcome in the secret sea garden. They blessed her amulet with a gentle silver shimmer, adding a new layer of magic that glowed softly. Then they drifted away, disappearing into the sparkling waves. Ariel turned to Sofia, her eyes shining with gratitude. She told Sofia she was more than just a princess. She was a true friend of the sea. Sofia smiled proudly, feeling stronger and braver than ever. The journey wasn't over yet, but she knew one thing for sure. The secret sea garden was safe, and together they had restored its magic. With the shadow vine defeated and the heart current restored, Sofia and Ariel began exploring the secret sea garden again, this time without worry or fear. The colors of the plants shimmered brilliantly under the soft light that now flowed freely through the water, and the gentle currents carried sparkles of magic to every corner of the sanctuary. Sofia swam beside Ariel, marveling at how vibrant and alive everything felt. Fish with sparkling scales darted around playfully, seahorses drifted gracefully among glowing coral, and jellyfish hovered like floating lanterns. Even the Luminora Bloom, now fully restored, released tiny sparks of light into the water with every pulse of its petals. The garden felt alive with happiness, and Sofia could feel it too. Her heart swelled with pride at knowing she had helped save this magical place, and she realized that even in a world full of danger and uncertainty, courage and kindness could make a real difference. Ariel led Sofia toward a hidden part of the garden that neither of them had explored before. Here, the coral formed a small maze, winding through glowing plants and soft sand. Sea turtles swam lazily above, while colorful schools of fish created shimmering ribbons of motion. Ariel told Sofia that this part of the garden was reserved for celebrations and special gatherings, a place where merfolk and visitors could enjoy the beauty and magic of the ocean without worrying about threats. Sofia's eyes widened as she noticed small patches of luminescent flowers that responded to movement, opening and closing gently as they floated in the water. Ariel explained that each plant reacted to the energy of those who entered, welcoming only those with kind hearts. Sofia laughed softly as a small group of glowing butterflies, which she had never seen underwater before, fluttered past her and landed briefly on her tail. She realized that the garden wasn't just a place of beauty, it was alive, and it shared its happiness with those who treated it well. As they swam further into this hidden section, Ariel brought Sofia to a circular clearing filled with sparkling stones that radiated a calm, warm light. In the center of the circle, a delicate fountain made of crystal shells bubbled, sending soft streams of glowing water into the air. Ariel explained that the fountain represented the balance of the ocean, the harmony between light and shadow, life and growth. Sofia gazed at it in wonder, feeling the gentle vibrations of the water echo through her chest. She realized that the heart current wasn't just a source of power for the garden, it was the heartbeat of the entire underwater ecosystem. Everything depended on it, and everything was connected. Ariel smiled at Sofia's thoughtful expression, telling her that she had learned an important lesson today, that magic, like kindness, only grows when it is nurtured and shared. Just then, a group of tiny merfolk children swam toward them, giggling and carrying small shells filled with luminescent sand. They invited Sofia to join their game, and she eagerly accepted. Together, they created patterns of glowing trails in the water, sending bright arcs of colors spiraling through the coral maze. Sofia laughed as a playful dolphin swam by and tried to copy their movements, jumping and spinning in the currents. Ariel watched proudly, seeing how Sofia's courage and love for the garden inspired not only the magic but also the creatures within it. Sofia realized that helping the garden had given her something more than satisfaction. It had given her a deep connection to a place she had never imagined she could be a part of. The secret sea garden was no longer just a hidden magical sanctuary, it had become a place where she felt truly welcome, a place where her bravery had made a difference. After a while, Ariel guided Sofia toward the surface of the water. The sun was beginning to set, sending golden rays through the waves and casting a sparkling light across the garden below. "It's time to return, Sofia," Ariel said gently. "But remember, the garden will always be here, and you will always have a place in it." Sofia nodded, feeling a mix of happiness and sadness. She didn't want to leave, but she knew she had to return to the castle and continue her life as a princess. Ariel gave her a warm hug, brushing a strand of red hair from her face, and Sofia returned it, feeling the strength of their friendship. Ariel promised that they would meet again soon, and that the secret sea garden would always welcome her back whenever she wished to visit. As Sofia swam back toward the shore, her amulet glowed softly, reminding her of the magic she had shared and the courage she had shown. She felt proud not just for herself, but for all the creatures in the garden who had trusted her. She realized that adventures like these weren't just about fun, they were about responsibility, bravery, and helping those in need. The memories of sparkling orbs, glowing flowers, and friendly sea creatures filled her mind, and she knew she would carry them with her forever. Sofia couldn't wait to tell her friends at the castle about her amazing day with Ariel, though she knew some of the details might sound like a fairy tale. Yet she also knew that the magic she experienced was real, and that friendship, courage, and kindness were the greatest magic of all. Finally, Sofia reached the shore, stepping onto the soft sand as the waves lapped gently at her feet. She turned back for one last glance, and even through the water, she could see the secret sea garden glowing faintly, a promise of its enduring magic. Ariel waved from the surface, smiling warmly. Sofia waved back, her heart full of joy and wonder. She whispered softly, "Thank you, Ariel," knowing that today had changed her in ways she would never forget. The secret sea garden had been saved, friendships had been strengthened, and Sofia had discovered the power of her courage and kindness. As the sun set over the coral coast, she smiled, feeling ready for any adventure that awaited her next.